This special guest I brought up, I bring up today, right? I have to call him my Sifu lah. Okay. Now, and this Sifu, okay, is I'm 17 years his senior. Okay. So now, yet I'm learning a lot from him because why? Okay, because this Sifu of mine, not only he's young, okay, extremely kind. He's also a vegetarian. Okay. Yeah, very compassionate. Not only that, very smart. Okay, because he's a Malaysian, but I believe he's Singapore PR. Hopefully, he's a Singapore PR soon. Okay, I don't know why. Malaysian always produce talent one, and the talent somehow or rather end up in Singapore. Okay, so and oh, can we increase my mic volume, please? Some say actually very soft. So thank you. And he used to work for a company that I always wanted to go when I was young. He used to work for this company called McKinsey. How many heard of McKinsey? Right, McKinsey. Okay, McKinsey. Yes, it's the world top consulting firm. They only select some of the best Ivy League students. So I won't tell you where he graduated from. He graduated from the state. Okay, so now, yes, top consulting firm. Now, then after that, okay, because of his consulting work, he got exposed to a lot of blockchain, Web 3.0, okay, concept of work. And now he's currently in, I will let him explain, okay, where is he right now. But okay, I only use one word to describe him. He's called crypto native. Can you all type in called crypto native? Thank you. Now, later he will explain what's called crypto native, because he will be the best so-called profile that you need to know how a future generation, okay, will be like. Okay, where they are totally comfortable with blockchain, cryptocurrency, okay, metaverse world. Okay, so now without further ado, can we all warmly welcome, okay, my teacher and good friend in the metaverse world, okay, Shikai. Shikai, come say hi to everyone. Okay.
Hi everyone.
So Shikai, quickly, right? Would you want to actually just maybe let our audience know, okay, what are you currently doing right now? Yeah.
Sure thing. Firstly, thank you so much, Ken. I think that was such a great introduction, and including all the personal details as well. I always hesitate to call myself a Sifu. I think we are all kind of like learners here, and we always continuously grow. And so the hope is to actually bring that growth to everybody here and then make that journey together. Well, as to what I'm doing today, I'm actually from Longhash Ventures, one of the general partners as well as the COO there. We've been running for since 2018, and we started off as an accelerator, and now we have our own fund as well. What we do is that we invest in what we call Web 3.0 startups, and we also support them in venture building in all the business side of things, including the strategy, things like tokenomics, governance, down to fundraising, and of course community building and so on. So of course, as part of that, NFTs is a critical component. It is now undeniable, or like you cannot ignore that it is a huge vertical, and in fact already gaining a lot more recognition than even DeFi, and in certain for certain blue chip crypto such as Ethereum, like the search popularity has already exceeded Ethereum, right? So naturally for us as well, we have been investing in various NFT infrastructure projects as well as directly into NFT projects themselves. And personally speaking, I've been dabbling in a lot of this, using a lot of the products, personally investing. I look forward to sharing all of that with you today.
And Shikai, so just now I used the word crypto native, right? Could you actually also give explanation what does crypto native means in your world?
I guess it's kind of a subjective term, but I would consider myself crypto native in the sense that it's all around, like my entire life. I wouldn't say revolves around it, but there isn't a single moment that I don't think about it, right? Everything I see, I can almost imagine like, oh, should this be tokenized? Oh, should this brand have an NFT? When I interact with people or we have a community, right, I think like, oh yeah, is there space for using some sort of tokenomics or NFTs to coordinate the value or prove some of the relationships, and therefore make it a lot more transparent, inclusive, and also like lock it in as a permanent record that everybody can see.
Interestingly, we have one audience asked, right? I think it's your first fans really. How young is Shikai? How many of you would like to actually know how young is Shikai? If you want to know, right? Okay, can you type in a 1? So I know he won. Last year during the Value Investing Summit, we have Oliver, a German, Korean, actually Eurasian. We call him Oppa. And this year, I think we also have an Oppa. Okay, very good looking. Actually, very good looking. Okay, so okay. Most important thing is he single. Shikai, answer first question first. You don't need to answer the second question.
Yeah.
So how young are you, Shikai?
Yeah. So fortunately, still a lot of time. I am actually under 30. So this year I am turning 29. So very fortunate to actually earn my 30 under 30 ranking as well last year.
Shikai last year was actually voted by Forbes magazine, right? Yeah. Forbes magazine as the under 30 person to watch out for, right?
30 under 30 for
the top 30 person under the age of 30 years old to watch out for in Asia. Hey, WOW, come on. Okay, some of you ask, is he real or virtual? So this is a mover and shaker in the Web 3.0, okay, and the metaverse world. And we got him into the studio right now. Can we all clap for Shikai volunteering time? Thank you so much. Come on. Thank you. Okay, he's here really on a volunteer basis. And how do we know each other? Because 1.5 years ago, through my YPO network, okay, and Shikai also, someone rather is also involved in the YPO network itself, okay, through your family, okay, yeah. And when I first met Shikai, he's so humble, down to earth, and he just shared something with me, right? Totally shattered my belief system. I still remember why Shikai, you leave such a deep impression. It's because I asked Shikai, I say, Shikai, do you do investing now? Because I'm a value investor, right? Shikai said, sure. I say, what do you invest? He said, crypto. I say, how many percent of your portfolio is actually in crypto? Shikai, and your answer is?
More than 90%.
90% of his portfolio is in crypto. I want to see your expression right now. 90% of his portfolio is crypto. Now, guys, put it this way. Either this young man in this room, okay, he's mad, or he knows something that most people do not know. So I today, let's find out, is he mad or he knows something that we don't know? How many want to do that right now? You want to do that? Can I see IW Matty raise our hand? You better on your camera. I can see you. Thank you. Okay. So, I mean, I think after interacting with Shikai over one year plus, right? I don't think Shikai is mad. Okay. So right now, I have a list of questions to ask Shikai right now. Why would a 20-year-old, late 20s, okay, put 90% of his net worth into the crypto? Okay, so now first, let's go first. Okay, yes. Aren't you worried about the fluctuation? You know, why do you allocate 90% of asset into crypto? How do you sleep soundly at night? Yeah, Shikai.
Yeah, sure thing. So in the beginning, like if you started in crypto in, 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, right? The only option you would have is Bitcoin. And of course, back then, if you had 90% of your personal assets or your investments in only Bitcoin at such an early stage, I don't think anybody would be able to sleep so soundly, right? I think very few people would be able to have that level of conviction because it was very early and there wasn't enough types of assets that you can invest in. Today, the situation is very different, right? We have certain blue chip crypto that has been around for many years right now, has achieved incredible adoption, right? I think last year, the record was around 100 million users in crypto, 100 million kind of addresses or unique people who are using crypto. And therefore, the type of assets and how you can invest is also already very different. So from like BTC and ETH into some of the, say, DeFi assets, into NFTs. And if you really want to be very conservative, you can even hold stable coins, which are then pegged to say USD or a certain local currency, and those can be earning yield for you as well. So many of these, I think Louis just now shared, right? Even with a USD stablecoin, there are places where you can earn 10, 20% yield. So even though I say 90% is in crypto, but it's not as if like everything is in like one NFT project or everything is in like only BTC, right? There's also a certain sense of like diversification where I have certain low risk pool, certain pool of Bitcoin and ETH that I will not touch for a decade or maybe a lifetime, and the rest where I can go into the higher growth areas, the higher risk areas, and experiment around.
Okay. So, and just now you mentioned about NFT, but we'll go to actually the NFT discussion later on, right?
Yep.
So now, what do you see in the future that give you so much confidence on the Web 3.0? Yeah. What's your view of the world going forward, the future? Yeah.
To me, undoubtedly, the internet is for information, or Web 2.0 was for data and information. And Web 3.0 or crypto is about assets. So to me, it is inevitable that all the representation of assets, all the aspects that represent value in the internet, be it physical or digital, of course, we'll start with digital, all of these will eventually be tokenized.
Wow.
So the universe that you're thinking of, right? Initially, you might just be thinking of like currency or gold. But now with NFTs, you can start thinking about what else has value? Art, music, and tying to real life assets as well, your land titles, your car ownership, your identity, your relationships with the people, the community and the history that we have collectively created. All of these things have value and they can be represented in the form of tokens, be it ERC20, NFTs. And if you can see that crypto is the most native form, the most natural form to express and capture these assets and prove the value, allow you to use the value, express that value in the various forms, then I think you'll be able to kind of like grasp the essence of crypto very quickly.
Wow. And since we're on this topic right now, what have you, because we have token, we have NFT, with cryptocurrency stablecoin, what have you invested? Like, how do you allocate your so-called crypto portfolio, into, like, how do you, like, what do you put in your portfolio, in your crypto portfolio?
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So I think this is kind of like personal, right? Everybody has your own, risk profile and so on, right? I would say, 30, 50% is a safe chunk that is just going to be Bitcoin and ETH, and I'm just going to leave it there. I'm not going to touch it. And I might not even try to earn yield on that because you incur certain like smart contract risk.
Yep.
And then another kind of like, 30, 40% is, I would say, like, high growth or like high conviction projects that I think are going to grow significantly over the next 2 to 5 years.
Yep.
And then you keep a small pool, like 10% or so, just for the very crazy ideas that could just become something huge, right? And then just play around, try all the new products.
Okay. And one of them actually asked, what is the economic value of this virtual asset? Is there economic value that you see? Yeah.
It's very broad. So what's the economical value of what type of asset, right? Because it's very different when you talk about, say, a currency basis or like a store of value like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Also very different when we talk about like a DeFi token, which is more equity-like, or we talk about NFT, which is more asset-like. So could we just specify what value that you want to dive into?
Okay, so you asked the question, but you answered the question back.
Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So Roland say NFT. Yeah, let's say take the form of NFT. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So NFTs, I would look at them more like assets.
Yeah.
Right. And actually, I would say broadly, you have kind of two categories. One is to represent certain assets. And second is to represent certain relationship between you and a community or you and the creator. So if the NFT is the asset itself, then we are talking about things like metaverse land, where actually the land itself is the NFT, right? Like that represents your ownership of land.
Yeah.
Or you might, for certain pieces that are purely art, which I'm going to show examples of in a bit as well. Purely art, then like the NFT itself represents, well, some of it actually, the art itself is in the NFT.
Yep.
Right. But there are some NFTs where like it's just a proof of your ownership of the art, right? So there's something in between as well. And then that leads me to the second category, which is like, okay, sure, like maybe, this NFT represents this art, but I don't think it's really useful. Some projects that are like, but the art is not even nice looking.
Yeah.
Right? Why is it still so popular?
Yeah.
For those, there's a different rationale, right? It shows a certain proof or relationship between you and all of the other NFT collectors, or it shows a relationship between you and the creator or of the NFT itself.
I give an example. Maybe I'll just chip in here.
Sure.
Right? So I think I can understand the second part. I think it's like, let's say the NFT is a relationship with the creator. So example, let's say this creator, if you mint this NFT, and this NFT represents a certain right for you to actually enjoy the future work of this creator.
That's right.
So therefore, if you ask me, then what's the economic value here is the owner of this NFT, okay, by the mere fact of holding this NFT itself, give this owner the future so-called creative work, or either the work can be tangible or actually digital, but going forward, as long as the creator or the team of the platform that create this continue to produce those work.
That's right. That's right. So exactly, so to get to the real root of the question is then, once you have the assets, once you have the relationships, then where is the value in that? Then that's also a subjective part, right? Why do people want to own assets? Some people own the assets because I want to show off, right? There's a certain social value. Some people own it because I'm speculating. I think the demand for this asset is going to go up, maybe because of its utility, maybe because of its social popularity, and therefore that asset itself has value. And then whereas for the relationship part, it's also very subjective, right? Maybe I buy into this NFT because it allows me to join a community, right? And I value the relationships I have here. I value my membership in this community. And so what is that value to you, right? Or the utility of those relationships?
Actually, I can think of a good example. Imagine 20 years ago, right? When Warren Buffett first launched his auction for charity, because now every year he has an auction for charity, right? Let's say 20 years ago, if Warren Buffett actually mint an NFT, and this NFT allowed so-called to have a lunch session with him every year, right? Just imagine, let's say 20 years ago, and today, okay, people pay 4.something million US dollars just to have lunch. But let's say 20 years ago, the NFT when it minted is only, let's say 20, 50,000 or even 60,000, or even let's say 100,000 US dollars. My question to you here is, do you think, okay, this NFT today, okay, is going to worth much more? Because this NFT have a right to access to Warren Buffett for one lunch once a year.
Yeah. How much would you pay for that?
How much will you pay for it? How much will you pay for it? Come on. Can someone type in the chat right now? Right? It's like it's not about just the artwork, but it's the access entitlement that actually attached to the NFT. Right? Come on. I want to see how much do you think? Is it going to be, yes, the utility behind it. So do you think it's going to be more valuable? Let's say if Warren Buffett 20 years ago issued an NFT, and this NFT allowed that holder every year to have one lunch with him every year. So do you think the NFT is going to be more valuable or not less valuable? Come on, more or less? Come on. More, right? More, right? Okay, more valuable, right? And how about this, right? I also read some articles, I think some of because we are a Web 2.0, and I'm sharing the community how I'm going to actually support our Web 2.0 community move into 3.0 very carefully, progressively. So maybe we'll meet currently it's about 2.5 because we are still value investor. If you're a value investor, give me a thumbs up, come on. Okay, so give me a thumbs up, come on. So we want to know what are the economic and utility value to it, right? So I read something here is even hotels rooms, some hotels right now, because of pandemic, right? What they do here is they even have the idea that some hotel room, they can even mint it to an NFT. Yeah. Why? Because let me explain to you why. Because maybe that room stay by Obama, or that room had stayed by Michael Jackson. Right? And Michael Jackson is no longer around, How many agree? How many know who is Michael Jackson? Hey, please, humor me. How many know Michael Jackson, king of pop? Please, don't make me feel so old, cannot? Yeah. Shukai, you know Michael Jackson, right?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay. Lucky. So imagine, okay, what is that sentimental value and that intangible value that this NFT will allow the holder to actually stay in that room maybe 5 days in a year. How many find that now you can start to see how this Web 2.0 and Web 3.0 is coming, okay, to integrate. It's not really very far-fetched. If you can understand, say yes. Thank you so much. Right?
if I may
Yes, correct.
build upon that. So I think Web 2 or like the real world parallels allow us to understand or like imagine what the value can be in Web 3. But actually a lot of it's very similar concepts, right? So like, for example, just now we said you own metaverse land. You can also rent out that land for other people to use. You can rent it out for other people to host events, build buildings, or you can charge for people to enter or use your land. And that can already generate very tangible economic value. Another example is, for example, gaming assets, where there are a lot of play to earn games. And just by using those NFT assets, you are actually generating a cash flow as well. So there's also the financial value there that you can actually model what is the yield of a particular NFT and therefore project what is the fundamental value there.
Okay, cool. So now since we're on this topic already, so now can we find out that why suddenly there's so much exposure of NFT or interest in our media right now, especially the recent 6 months? Yeah.
Sure thing. I think the recent 6 months, there are quite a few factors that came together, right? I think firstly, there were a few catalysts, big announcements. The chief one, of course, is Facebook rebranding to Meta. I think a lot of people also learned about Axie Infinity becoming a source of livelihood for many gamers in the Philippines and also South America. People learn about the artists such as Beeple, who sold 69 million like in terms of sales for his auction for one of his NFTs.
Yep. And
many other artists who have actually started to earn a living. So because there are these many examples that can be highlighted, right? Then, of course, then it starts to become popular. But the reason these examples came about in the first place, right? There are other factors as well, right? One is the infrastructure for NFTs have been matured. Actually, NFT is not a new concept, right? Since like 2018 or so, we were already accelerating and investing in companies that were doing NFTs or like facilitating NFT minting. But they were not yet mature. Like we needed a lot of tooling, right? A lot of like user experience, a lot of education kind of things. Then like last year when it just hit that sweet spot, a lot of people can come in. And of course, lastly, the macro landscape as well, where like the COVID allowed everyone, push everyone towards the virtual world, towards like working remotely, that people start to get like more familiar with living online. You can start to imagine like, hey, maybe I could work online, I could live online, I could meet people online, right? And there's a short gap from that into like owning assets or like representing those things in NFTs.
And of course, some of them, of course, there will be hype right now. Okay, as hype, there's speculation. I totally agree. Okay, that's why we need to be very careful. At the same time, we need to be open-minded. Can everybody actually type in open-minded? Okay, very important. Open-minded. Now, why? Why do I say that? Because if you think about NFT concept, right? Okay, it's not entirely new, you know. I think in many years ago, I remember that, you know, in my school, when I was young, right, I have this classmate, they collect very flashy cards, you know. And there's this character that, you know, you have to collect a set of cards. Then and someone rather, I remember you have to go to 7-Eleven to buy that, you know, buy those cards, you know. And someone rather, you still always, some people will miss out 1 or 2 cards. So, and they have to look around to exchange. Or even way back further, okay, where people start to collect stamps. Why do people collect stamps? You know, and they are very specialized niche community. Okay, and people collect coins, right? So it's a collectible item. Just that this NFT, I think, is something powerful because there is a smart contract behind this technology itself, right? Maybe share more about this idea of smart contract. What do this smart contract do in this NFT itself? Yeah.
All right. Smart contracts are essentially just like if-then statements, right? If you put in this output, if you put in this input, it's going to perform this computation or whatever interaction, and then it will churn out the output. So it's a set of rules. They are codified or committed. And these things cannot be changed once you publish it onto the blockchain. So you know that anytime anybody does one action, there will always be that reaction that you can count on. One very strong example with NFTs that was previously not possible in a collector's world is the idea of royalties. I think just now you saw some of the examples where, for example, Gozali, right? Where maybe if I may...
Yeah, sure. Now, Stu, I'm going to actually show some very interesting NFT project that went on. They cannot believe it, but he'll explain.
So I think Louis just now highlighted an example. Oh, can we show? Okay, yeah. We just highlight an example called Gozali Everyday. And this is an ordinary Indonesian guy who was just taking selfies for 4 years and minted it as an NFT. He sold it for $3 per NFT, right? So people just bought $3 and he hardly earned anything. But because the NFTs are using a smart contract, he can program in a certain royalty mechanism. And the royalties are recognized by the NFT marketplaces. And every time anybody makes a purchase, a cut of the sales will actually automatically go to his address and he will get paid for that, regardless of which marketplace you use, as long as they recognize that contract itself. Of course, this is for NFTs, right? This can be used very broadly for any other kind of like financial interaction. So people are using it to provide liquidity. So for like kind of like coin exchanges, lending and borrowing.
Yes.
There are a lot of things that you can do.
Yeah.
So what does that mean then? It means that Gozali, in this example, can sell for $3. And let's just go into one of the recent activity.
This is real, let's take a look right now.
Oh, this is, by the way, live. So this is from OpenSea, the most popular NFT marketplace. And let's look at one of the transactions or one of the NFTs that has been transacted. So this is currently owned by DACBS. It's just the name of the address.
You have to scroll up higher so that at the back of the screen they can see. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay.
Bring it down further.
Yeah, sure, cool. Yeah.
So when Gozali first minted this NFT, he sold it for just a few dollars.
$3.
Yeah, $3 to this person called Fish S. But actually, and that was just 10 days ago. And just a day ago, this Fish S actually sold it for 0.25 ETH, which comes up to
$600 over dollars.
$600 over dollars. And so actually on the surface, you're like, wow, Fish S actually flipped this NFT for like how many hundreds of times of return. But also on the back end, Gozali actually took a cut of the sales, right? Because it was programming as interaction. So because you can make these commitments, it allows you to operate with less trust. You don't have to trust that a middleman or a platform or any of the intermediaries will help you ensure that, oh, the supply is only this much. Or like every time you pay, I will give you a royalty.
Yes, I tell you, this is exactly my headache, our headache. So I tell you, this is a pain. Sorry, guys, I will tell you the pain. Can I tell you the pain? You know, I remember 10 years ago, I started writing my book, right? So, and the book, we published a book, we put it in the bookstore. A bookstore is a middleman, right? And it's such a pain because, you know, you think that writer collect royalty, like live off the royalty. No. Because first and foremost, okay, you have to actually account for the physical stock. The stock get lost and they never give you the royalty on time. You have to chase and chase and chase and chase until the cow don't come home. Okay, you still don't get your royalty. So I give up. I give up. I'm not selling my book in the bookstore. Seriously. Okay, because the whole middleman system, okay, boy, Marco says so much emotion in there. Of course lah. Okay, took time to write the book, you know. Okay, and in the end, you know, we still have to take back our own physical stock. So therefore, I could now, when you say about this smart contract feature, right? Now I understood when there's a way ready to remove the unnecessary middleman portion, where a buyer and seller deal directly, but yet it's being verified in a public domain, okay? And the trust is there. Wow. Do you understand the example? If you understand, put an example. Come on. If you understand, put yes. Come on. I say again, now there's a way. This is a good example, right? A seller, which is a creator, doesn't matter what he sell, creator, okay, sell his product or service, okay, to a buyer without going through a middleman. But the transaction is being verified in the public domain, and you cannot change it, okay? And therefore, okay, you cut down a lot of frictional costs in that case, right? Yeah. Okay. So now, any more example you want to show it to us?
Oh yeah, of course. So actually I wanted to show these as examples of different types of NFTs, right?
Yeah.
So Ghazali, of course, you might say, okay, why would anyone buy this thing, right? What's the point? And you can argue that like, okay, maybe, the fact that he took these selfies over many years, that itself has some sort of artistic value. But to be honest, it was more of a meme, right? People bought it. It was funny. It was fun. Other people were buying it. And so it became a little bit of like a meme stock in a way for equities, right? And you just want to be in on the game. Yeah. And so and other speculators started to join in. So yeah, everybody has very personal reasons of why you want to own certain assets, right? So that's one example. Let's go to another one, which is called art blocks. This is also one of the pioneers for crypto art. So usually for a lot of NFTs, like Ghazali, you actually represent the art with the NFT. So NFT will show you, okay, this NFT is supposed to link to this photo. But you can also actually embed the logic of the art itself into the NFT.
What? Wait. You're taking a bit before you go too deep.
Sorry.
You just use the word embed the logic.
Yes. So
into the art.
That's right. So in this case, right, they have a smart contract which has the AI algorithm to generate randomized art. And so when you mint an NFT using that smart contract, you are running that randomizer and you are rendering a new piece of art. So a new piece of art is created by the algorithm on blockchain, by the smart contract, every time you mint a new NFT on art blocks. So actually the artists here, they are not drawing. They are AI programmers. They are algorithm creators. And every time you view this NFT, you don't necessarily need to cache it and like download the image. You can actually render it directly based on the computations on blockchain. And this is one of the really kind of like higher art kind of interpretations of NFTs, and they go for a pretty high price as well.
And this is unique. Every art piece is unique, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. So this is one of the prime examples.
Hey, hello, wait. I'm not lost, okay? Jiaxi, I'm not lost. I'm not lost. I'm digesting my teacher, what my teacher is teaching me. I'm learning new things. I'm not lost. I'm just misorientated. I can orientate myself back.
So I didn't share this example with Ken before. So it's the first time he's hearing about this as well.
Okay, guys, can we all here to actually have fun, learn, and grow at the same time? If you agree, give me a thumbs up. Come on. If you agree, at least give an LOL, cannot. LOL cannot. Is it okay? Okay, let's have fun. Okay, let's have fun. Okay, yeah.
So I'm showing you the cutting edge, right? These like the like most serious experiments are being run, and people are actually collecting these things for like tens of ETH or very few ETH.
Wow.
So another example is of course within the metaverse. Right, so this a little bit kind of like self-promo. This is one of the long hash venues. So we actually bought a plot of land within the metaverse. One of the projects called Crypto Voxels. And we used it to run our demo day, because we used to run these events offline where we showcase certain startups. People come, let's say you do a National Gallery or whatever, and people come in and the startups can pitch. So now we just like, hey, actually, why don't we do the metaverse? And we bought a plot of land. We built everything from scratch. All of these were created by my team's designers. And then we did the pitches. And this is the basement where we are showcasing some of the NFTs from our portfolio. So actually, if you go up to them, you can actually click on them if you're in the metaverse. Sorry, the iPad doesn't work. And you can actually go to that specific NFT and you can even bid for it, buy it, or use it for whatever purpose. We ran a giveaway campaign for our events. Wow. And when we did it, this is how it looked like. Right? You can see like we have a live stream and people came in. These were avatars and they could tune into the live stream. People
wait. Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
That means people attend this event in the metaverse world as avatar, and they can go in front and actually choose their artwork. They look at all the project that you actually have displayed. It's like physically you go into an art gallery or exhibition.
Yeah,
is what you're saying?
Yeah. So they physically went as if they're attending a pitching event. They went to the downstairs as if they're going into the gallery, right? And they can go and like enter the slot for a giveaway for the NFTs as well.
Now, apart from actually the rendering aspect of it, okay, but I believe as technology breakthrough, we're going to see like maybe Unreal kind of engine.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, where we game like, very, very clear, So I believe, as the technology breakthrough, we're going to see, with more human-like, very human-like kind of avatar in there, right? By the way, there's one show, right? If you want to understand metaverse, blockchain and Web 3.0, everybody please type in this movie called Ready Player One. Type in right now, Ready Player One. Thank you so much. Go and watch this movie, Ready Player One. Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay, a good show. Because Ready Player One launched in 2018. When I first watched it, I didn't know you back then, right? It just don't make sense to me. I was like, no, this can't be true, man. This is like too far-fetched for me, right? But now when I actually start to actually understand more about metaverse, learn about it, and when I rewatch it, wow, it makes total sense for me. Now, guys, ladies and gentlemen, why we're having this conversation right here is sitting in front of us right here is a crypto native. He represents the future. Okay, everybody right now, he represents the future. Our children represent the future. So if you want to be relevant to the future world, we better learn now and be open-minded and know exactly what they interact, what they breathe, what they play, what they use, how do they see the world. Will you agree? If you agree, type agree. Thank you. He represents the future. Think about back in the 80s, 90s when you're young. Okay, you represent the future, and back then when the .com first started, when your grandparents don't even know what is a website, you represent the future. Agree or not? Think when a time when you start buying things on the internet, when your parents, okay, still go to the provision shop downstairs at 11, you represent the future. How many agree? You agree? Raise your hand. Come on. How about even maybe there's one stage where we don't even use that back then don't even use dollar note. We use credit card. You know, credit card swap. How about those period? Okay, our grandparents, they are still using notes. They see that plastic. They don't understand the plastic concept. You were the future back then, right? So how many find what I say makes sense to you? If you agree with me, type in a 10. Thank you so much.
Just one more example. Can I do one more?
Yes, of course. Yes, so I want to demonstrate one more project.
All right.
Okay.
So I think the past few maybe a bit far-fetched, right?
Yes.
You know, like art and like, wow, art on chain and metaverse. Maybe it's a bit too, crazy. So I'd like something a bit closer to home, like you might understand. Real world assets that can be represented as NFTs. So this is a project called Centrifuge. And they have I can say, financing decentralized finance project that actually tokenizes some of these real assets, such as debt, loans, right, invoices, and they put this into a certain pool. And you can actually finance these pools in order for them to actually have some liquidity before like it is matured. And therefore, you can earn some interest for that. Of course, because this is a regulated one, they have some sort of KYC procedures, right, to make sure that the business is real, these assets are real, but they tokenize it. And then after that, people who want to invest in it can actually enjoy some of these interest rates or some of these real assets and get involved. Well, maybe we need to disclaim this is not financial advice, right?
Yeah, this is not financial advice. They know.
Let me just show an example.
Just this is an example of project. This is what we call DeFi, right?
Yeah.
Decentralized finance.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the assets themselves, right? The debt, the invoice, the loans, these are represented as NFTs.
Yeah.
So I want to show that NFTs doesn't need to be just art or like metaverse, right? They can represent many different things, many different assets.
Wow. As long as it's non-fungible itself.
Yeah, as long as it's unique. You need an identifier for this asset. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Are you guys learning? Something? At least you learn something. Can you type in 2? So that let Sikai know that you are learning something, so that, thank you. Okay, cool. Infinite Web Mentee, you learned something, give me a thumbs up. I can see you. Okay, very good. Okay, so now, and Shikai, why would people buy virtual stuff?
Yeah. The answer is very subjective, right? Depends on everyone. If you're looking for the lens of an investor, you might be like, oh yeah, as long as other people buy or as long as it's hot, I'm just going to buy it, right? But I believe that the best reasons are always personal, right? You need to actually see the value for yourself, right? So if you, for example, see the case that like, hey, actually, I want to organize an event in the metaverse. And there are other people who are organizing the event. Actually, our neighbors started building these like viewing seats for people to even watch our events.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of like, oh, I want to participate in that community. I want to have my place in the metaverse. Right. So to us, kind of like as a company, it was a very natural decision because we needed a place in order to host an event. And then therefore we bought it. So and then another example could be, with the DeFi or with the art, right? You can say that like, hey, I want to be part of like the, say, Gozali community. Right. And even though it is virtual, right? The fact that I have it, then I feel that, oh yeah, I am part of something bigger. So I think when you have these personal examples, be it like very real utility that you can use it digitally, or you can associate yourself with certain groups of people, or you right, or your identity or a certain thing, or you are like just living in it, right? You are using the metaverse, you're playing a certain game. That's where virtual just makes so much sense, right? Like, and partly I think why this is important is because it opens up the door to everyone globally to be part of it, right? It removes the physical constraints. It's kind of like, why do you want to have a website if you have a brick and mortar store? The brick and mortar, you're limited to whoever's physically there. Right, but with the website, anybody can join globally. So similarly, why should I have an event, right, in the physical world where only physical people can attend? Right, if we're the virtual world, other people can
I can see the car in front of me, right? The 3D car. Maybe if with a glove, I can actually even feel and touch. Okay, I mean, and if I really like it, I mean, in the real world, I can deliver. I mean, I can order that, I can deliver to me. Right.
And I'd like to just move on to like the second order implications as well, right? So virtually everybody can see and everybody can join. You might say also like, oh yeah, it's open not just for people to join, but also see, right? Let's say I have an art piece and I can only display at home. Only people who come to my house get to see it, but now I can actually show it off online. And everyone can see it. Right? On my Twitter profile, on my Instagram profile, or you come to my metaverse, they can see that. And so when everyone can see and everyone can participate, what does that lead to? It means that we have a lot more also collaboration that's possible, a lot more cross-pollination that's possible. And that's why it's especially important to build the metaverse or things like NFTs on things that are on blockchains, which are open and permissionless. Things like Ethereum, things like Polygon, and so on, where like anybody can actually recognize the asset and use that like, hey, I want to have a project and I like your community. I'm going to give freebies to your community, or I'm going to allow your community to be whitelisted to mint the NFT from my project, right? You allow this open collaboration on a global scale that's open source and anybody can come and contribute.
Wow. And by the way, very good. You touched on a very powerful keyword. Can everybody write in this keyword called whitelisted? Whitelisted. Okay, whitelisted. Can everyone actually touch on right now this word whitelisted? Because this is one of the very powerful words that I always hear in the crypto world and actually blockchain world, right? Could you actually give more explanation? What do you mean by whitelisted? What is word whitelisted? About what does it mean?
Sure thing. So when something is digital and completely open, it could also mean that like basically there's no barrier, but that can be a disadvantage as well for certain things, right? Because it means that sure, anybody can come to my space. I want it to be a public good, but let's say I want to start a project and I want people who can contribute to it, or I want like credible people in it, right? Then maybe I don't want to allow just anybody to join. I want to curate a particular type of community with particular type of like track record, history, relationship with me. In that sense, what I can do is that I can whitelist, which means I can create a list that I allow these people, right? Maybe exclusively, or maybe they get certain benefits, like they get it for free, for example. I can allow this group to, let's say, mint my NFT first, or maybe they mint it at a low price, maybe it's for free, they only pay guests, for example, right? And that act itself is a conscious creation, like a conscious curation. You decide like what is the first core group. And usually that first core group is the one that will set the culture and the values and the energy for everybody else to join, right? Rather than kind of like let it like kind of dissipate very immediately, right? You want to have a small group that's really hot, and then that builds up the momentum for you to grow from there.
So it's like a very exclusive membership for your future project itself.
That's right. That's right.
Wow, very good. Okay, very good. Excellent. So now, and so I want to also take this opportunity. By the way, how many enjoy Sikai session so far? If you enjoy Sikai session, can you give me a feedback? At least you put in a 3 lah. So I will tell you 2 pieces of good news lah. Okay, how many want good news? Right, 2 pieces of good news. Okay, first piece of good news here is I've invited Sikai, okay, to become our. He not agree yet. He not agree yet. He's still thinking about it. Okay, Sikai to become one of our board of director for Matter V. Okay, the project that we are actually starting. How many you think that if we invite Sikai, right? Okay, and Sikai can bring him his so-called his network expertise in the Web 3.0 blockchain, at least you will help this community to move carefully from Web 2.0 to 3.0. How many agree? If you agree, type in, say wow, W-O-W. So let Sikai see. The more you respond, you see Sikai, wow, you see, all the response. Okay? Yeah. This one is called what? This is called peer pressure, public pressure. Okay. But I really think, okay, in order for us to actually grow as a community, grow as a group, okay, because just now we did a poll, 75 to 80% of them doesn't have a wallet, okay, they don't have crypto, okay, they maybe they're not exposed to Web 3.0 yet, so therefore, okay, I think we need support and guidance to move ourselves into actually the metaverse world. Cool? Excellent? Okay, how many of you love that? If you love that, give a love to Sikai. So that Sikai also can help us, right? Really, thank you. Okay, now, so Sikai, any more project want to demo?
Well, you were gonna ask like, oh, you know, what some like interesting or like
yes,
very good and all. Well, I can share 1 or 2. Like
yes, I want to actually ask one last question. Is what are some interesting projects you have invested in?
Yeah, sure. So actually, some of those examples that would be already some of the very interesting projects, but I will share like some even like crazier ones that we invest either from the fund or from personally.
Yep.
Right. So one example is there's this project called City DAO. They actually acquire a physical piece of land, and they want to have like membership or like citizenship, and they represent the citizenship by NFT.
Go on, I'm listening.
and also like different rights, right? How do you fund certain public goods, right? What your rights to kind of physically access and virtually access and things. Like, it's like a democracy, but run completely on blockchain. So there's a crazy experiment that's being done. I just joined it for fun and just to keep an eye out, right? Because sometimes like these crazy people get something to do. Another idea is actually one of the most popular tools in NFT is called Collabland.
Yes.
And actually they use it to gate access, right? If you have this NFT, then you can join this Discord group, then you can join this Telegram group, or then you can join my events, right? My online events. And so they actually are a completely free product. So what it is, actually, you know what? We want people to support us.
Yes.
So we're just going to do an open donation. We're going to have this thing called a patron NFT, and you can just donate money to us and you get in return this NFT that represents, you know, you have contributed. And that's all, right? But actually it became a public goods fundraising mechanism.
Wow.
Like a donation representation.
Wow.
So you're not just speculating on something, right?
Yeah.
It's also just a proof that, you know, you like this thing or you contributed. Yeah.
Excellent. I'm quite sure that there will be more projects coming up, okay, from Sikai's side and actually on the Matter V. Can we give Sikai a big round of applause? Thank you so much for sharing so much. Thank you. Okay.